been a long time since we made a video, as we said in the past when we've been on the dining room table doing all the engineering work for the body work instead of out here in the shop. But I have finally got all that done and back in the shop and accomplishing things out here. This is the, what do you call these little things you stick in the computer? What is this thing? You know, huh? These little thing you stick in the computer. Anyway, that's the whole body. That's it. That's everything. I'm scared to think how much money I've got invested in that, but that's all the body stuff. On the bright side, I've got a whole lot less invested in it than they told me it was going to cost to get to that point. But that has been sent to Ben Lyson, and we're about to have body stuff. All that is finished. Engineers have been let go, and I'm back in the shop. This is the chassis that replaced the chassis that had the fuel tank issue. This is number 5, I think. This is the final chassis. Well, I said that about the fuel tank one, but this is the chassis. This is the final one. This is it. There's a whole lot of little bitty subtle changes on it that don't really amount to anything, but I wanted to go over them with you, show you what I've done on this one. I marked them all with a piece of red tape so I'd remember what and where and what was going on them. This is all the plumbing for the air conditioner. This used to be slanted like this. I've stood it up like this. All the plumbing comes this way. Gets a little more room here. Remember, this thing started out with 17-inch wheels, and now we're at 18 and 20. A spare sits here, so by cocking that, I was able to get a little more room in here for the larger spare wheel. Likewise up here, this piece right here used to come down like so. A lot of that, the reason for that was that we didn't know exactly how we wanted all of this to work and where the windshield wiper motor was going to go. This piece right here is new. This is a bracket for the wiper motor. This goes in here like this. This comes over and bolts to the aluminum composite piece that is right here. That's located where we want it. That bolts up like so, so we got the tab. Now then we know that this doesn't crash into this in any way, so we cock that up a little bit again to get some more room in there for that bigger tire that we're using now. This is support for the steering shaft. I've raised it up just a little bit. Just got a little more leverage. This is a two joint U-joint here and a 1 joint here. Anytime you have a 2 joint, you've got to have the shaft supported. And I've just raised that up to get it a little closer by about 1 inch, just to get a little more leverage on it. These holes right here, besides being aesthetic, they're actually functional. That allows that hinge to go back into that hole a little bit. This is the hood hinge right here. Allows that to do that and work like so. I think that's everything on the front. This is not an improvement or change right here. This is just to keep me from putting my eye out. This has been redesigned right here. When the body comes like so, it gets more air out from the radiator and just helps cooling flow a little bit. Also moves this up here, gets some more area here to structurally support these two pieces here and get a lot more glue area on it. These bars right here have changed. This used to be an aluminum composite piece that came all the way around. It's kind of difficult to build, plus that aluminum composite wasn't just fantastic for attaching the body. Again, now that we have the body finished, we know exactly how it goes. I've changed this to tubing, gives you a little more crash resistance in the side as well. But here's your body mounting holes right here. All of this is different and new and improved. This piece here has just been redesigned a little bit. The speaker holes here, these holes. It's more of an aesthetic thing when this changed here to get clearance for the speakers. But they changed just a little bit. Likewise with a tube that goes through here that has the wiring for the lights and speakers and so forth, went to a smaller size tube, which is the same size tube as the air conditioner tubing. So we've already got this tubing on the project, but this eliminates having to build CNC a bung to fit our rubber Hayco pieces into it. So it's just eliminated 2 pieces by doing that. Speaking of these, wanted to show you this. You know, we've talked about using these exclusively, or not exclusively, throughout the car for all of our cables and so forth to pass through. Hayco's got me some new ones. Used to be on the old chassis, every bit of this stuff was countersunk, and the reason for that, so we had 1/4 inch aluminum, and the thickest grip range on these was 1/8 inch, so we had to countersink 1/8 of an inch to get this thing to fit. Well, Hayco's got me some 1/4 inch grips on this now, so I've been able to eliminate all of the countersinks all over this thing for the rubber pieces, which is just a whole lot of CNCing went away, which I'm pretty dang happy about. The carpet pattern, the coffers here for this, we've changed that just a little bit, just made it pretty. You can see the detail here and how that goes. See the detail here. I'm going to talk about this more in a minute, but carpet patterns changed just a little bit, just strictly an aesthetic deal. Fuel tank. We talked about 3 or 4 different fuel tank attempts. Stand by. We have another fuel tank attempt. That's the reason that some of this stuff's not finally in here yet. But you can see I got the TIG welder out, which is an AC/DC unit that will TIG weld aluminum, and I'm gonna try and experiment on a fuel tank and see how I like it. So stand by and I'll have that in the next video. Here's a detail. This is the detail that I want to talk to you about though. This piece right here. This piece here runs the whole width of the car. You can see it catches the upper frame rail here. It dog bones into here, and it locks all of that in. Well, you still just have this glue joint right here holding the rear bulkhead to everything. This is actually the same piece of this long bar that runs across here. You can see it's been dog boned and stuck through here. It comes through here. And this piece, which was here anyway, because this flared out and this piece has just been redesigned a little bit, there's a dog bone down here. This piece goes down into this piece right here. Well, this piece comes through, that piece goes down, and now it's locked. It can't go anywhere. That's a detail that I have seen on log cabins and some furniture. You pin it in and it just will not move. And so I stole a detail from a log cabin, and again, I think I've said this before in some videos, but in the words of my crew chief on the race car, Al Mallory, technology is wherever you can steal it from. So we have log cabin technology going into this thing. This right here, I don't remember if I had this on the last chassis or not. This is just a little tab up. That catches some wires. That's for some wire ties. The wiring that comes through the harness for the engine, it just catches that, and it just makes it a lot easier to do stuff. Trade sides with me here, Miss Camera Lady. This right here is totally different. Couple of reasons here. Used to be there was a piece here, a bar here, and a piece over there. Several things have happened here. One, we have changed. This was the old style cigarette lighter and USB port. We've changed to this manufacturer, which is the same stereo and so forth. So one less manufacturer, but in doing that, we changed this, we've done this. Used to be all this stuff was supported by the glove box shell, but there was a whole lot of origami going on there and a whole lot of detail, and this is just easier to do. These handles go on the dash here and here, and you can kind of see what that does like so. So that dictated all of that. The other thing that dictated this, let me reach back here just a second. This is not the right one, but you can get the idea here. what's going to happen, these doors, remember they're hinged, they butterfly up like so, instead of the conventional Lambo strut like so that comes up. These gas struts actually come across the bottom of the dash like this over the door. When the door goes up, they come in just a little bit and up to a point like that. So once we've had the body developed far enough, we can see where this point needs to go, and we've incorporated that into this bar like so to give it some strength to hold the door up, and that kind of dictated some changes here. The other thing that happened, the Alpine, in the course of building this car, Alpine, the state of the art's now a 9-inch receiver instead of an 8-inch, or an 8 instead of a 7, or so. Anyway, you get the idea. But we have a new, bigger stereo that went in it, which also dictated how this bar did right here, and how this this piece right here is shaped to accommodate the new mount style of the new stereo, which is totally different from the smaller screen one. So this right here is now all one big piece, which greatly helps to index when this goes in. This isn't put in yet because I want to play with the gas tank a little bit, but this being all one piece greatly helps that index right there, and I can hit that dead nut. Other thing, the latch on the glove box, when it came down, there was a whole lot of origami going on to make a solid enough piece out of ACM to catch the latch. Well, this little piece right here now catches the latch, and it's pretty dang solid. So a whole lot of little changes that don't amount to anything, but taken as a whole, there's a whole lot of changes there. This note right here. Most of the stuff I do is contracted stuff and private, and most of the time, if the client wants it put out on the internet, I will let them do it, but I don't do a whole lot of advertising, so forth, with stuff that's not mine and I have no business putting on the internet. This chassis is different. I have permission from several of the people that have already bought cars to publish stuff, promote stuff, so forth. But one of the guys that has bought a car from me, Tony Ferrer from Waterbury, Connecticut, told him, he'd asked about some pictures. I said, stand by, I'm going to get a video published today. And he said, give me a shout out. And I said, Tony, I would be glad to do that. So, Tony Ferrer, Waterbury, Connecticut. Yep. Shout out to you. How are we doing on time?
13.
13 minutes? Oh, gee. These tabs right here, see these dog bones that come up here? That indexes the body. They stick up instead of flush. That indexes the body as it comes on. This has been changed a little bit. This has been changed a little bit. Got a little more room in the shocks right here. No big deal. This moved 1/8 of an inch, not because of any mufflers or anything, but I wanted my linkage to catch the transaxle. Got that cut out for the. Made a deal with Optima batteries for these cars, so that's like so for the top of the battery, goes in like that. I don't think there's a whole lot more to say or shout out on this. One more time, one last thing. This right here, we redid this bar here to catch the struts. Again, not the right strut, but you get the idea. That's the rear hatch strut. I think that's about it. One last thing, I got my trusty old engine block here to dummy up and line up my motor mounts. Every shop in the world, I guess, has got a block to dummy all this stuff up. Called my buddy DeLynn and said, hey, how much are one of those plastic blocks after I heave this thing up here? I said, you know what, that's got to go. He said, they're $400. And I said, you know what, I think I can just heave that heavy block for a while. So, 14.5 minutes. That's pretty close to 15. Got some, well, we didn't even get to that. All right, tell you what, we're going to call this video, and I've got some more stuff for you as well and some other videos.
We're done with that.